guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Reneilwe, I also go by the name Reni, and if you are already subscribed, welcome back. So today, this episode will be about nightstands. So when it came to my concept and idea of what kind of nightstand would I like to have in my room, what I realized was something that I've said before. My room is a main bedroom of this house, but however it's not as huge or spacious as I would like it to be. So with that being said, when it came to my nightstands, I decided I wanted floating nightstands, basically nightstands that don't take up floor space, because when you have a small room, the last thing you want to do is add furniture that's going to take up more floor space. Basically, you want the eye to obviously see the floor, and obviously when your eye sees the floor, you get the perception that, oh, this is a very spacious place, but however it's not really spacious. Something is probably occupying the space as it normally would. It's not touching the floor or anything like that. That gives the illusion that it's actually more spacious. So I don't want anything to, take up my floor space, and obviously opening up floor space allows me to bring in more furniture into the room. Not hoarder vibe furniture obviously, but you can also fit in something right underneath the nightstand if you wanted to fit something there, a plant or some baskets, storage baskets, or whatever the case may be. That's what you can also add. So that's what we'll be doing in this video. Obviously you will notice I started part of this DIY while I was still back home and finished it off while I was back here at my house. So with that being said, stay tuned, you guys do not want to miss this, and I hope you enjoy this video. So let us not waste any time and let us get into our episode number 3. So starting off with my 2x10 piece of wood, I'm going to start off by measuring my nightstands. I first started off by measuring it 40 centimeters and planned on cutting it at an angle, obviously 45-degree angle, so that everything can come together into a square. So after the hard work of actually cutting it, this is what happened. I changed my idea on the cut that I initially made into straight cuts because I felt it looked too polished and it looked too neat. And another thing is, other than that, using my jigsaw, honestly, it is kind of difficult for me to get the angles as straight as I would possibly like them to be. And when you're working with angles, sometimes it's hard for you to sand them down so they can be a smooth finish. So I also wanted the chunky and bulky kind of look. So I went right ahead and I cut down the angles. And my other reason is, the way I measured everything out, it was basically going to give me huge nightstands, and I don't have much space on the side of my bed, on the sides of my bed, so I needed to downscale on the sides as well. So I decided I wanted a chunky and bulky look, so it can also add that bit of a rustic feel to the design, and that's what we did. Now that I've changed my mind all over again, I downsized my planks from 40 centimeters and started measuring them 30 centimeters, making a marking and then drawing a line straight through and then cutting them straight this time around after all that hard work to cut them at an angle. Imagine. Wow. But anyways, moved on into the sanding process. You guys know how we do. We start off with 80 grids and we start building our way up to 220 grids so that we can give our wood a nice sand, and obviously wiping off the dust and debris before staining or anything like that, just ensuring that you guys have a clean finish. But before we start the staining process, I decided that I'm going to go right ahead and attach everything together and stain it once it's all attached. So this was the first time attaching this. I didn't have any clamps or anything, so I decided I'm gonna be an amateur and use some tape to hold it in place. Long story short, this didn't work out, but it helped to keep it in place just so I can go get bricks, and I anchored everything down with bricks because, well, I do not have all the equipment that one person needs in order to woodwork this. And this is what it looked like with me using bricks as clamps. This was a great plan B, I think. Well, it didn't work out, so Point is, it dried and it didn't dry very well. Certain areas weren't stuck together. You could see like the spacing in between the planks. So I went right ahead and pre-drilled and decided to nail everything down the way I was supposed to do everything initially. Well, actually, since it's rainy here, we're gonna mess it up before we get it right. So I put in the nail, but I didn't like how it stuck out like a sore thumb. I really didn't like that. So what I did was I took out the nail and then I went with a wider drill bit so that I can widen the top area. We're not going through and through, we just, you know, making a marking of how far we want it to go in, and then making the hole wider so that when the nail goes in, it stays in a flush position and you don't see it popping out or sticking out. That is what I wanted to go for. Obviously, the marking is just a safeguard so you don't over drill or go further than what you need to. And this is what it looked like. This is what I'm talking about. Just widening the top area. And then I was super happy with the decision I made because look at how this looks. It looks great. Obviously, with my dad checking on me and the approval of my dad and a thumbs up and a good to go, I relocated obviously, and then obviously I'm using the stain that I used for my headboard. If you guys don't know the mix of the stain, you guys can check out my previous video. I will link it right at the top so that you guys can go check out my stain selection, or you can just check out the entire video, or you can check out the video after you're done watching this video. You can do whatever you want, honestly. You have all the control and all the right to do that. I can't tell you what to do. But however, I noticed that where the glue was seeping through, the stain didn't attach very well. That was something that I just had to deal with. I could have easily sand it all over again and try and got that glue residue off, but well, I just continued going on, and this is what the stain looked like when it was dry. I'm going to install my side tables with these little hook things. I don't know what they're called, but this is what they look like. But because I want them to look seamless on the wall, I will be spray painting them white. You could probably paint them with your wall paint. I still do have some left over, but however, I don't want to go that route. I just want the fastest and easiest route. I hope I don't regret it, but then that's what we're going to do. We're gonna blend in these things with the wall so that they don't stand out. Moving right along and spray painting these anchors, guys, you need to make sure that you don't go overboard with the spray paint. Just wait in between coats and have like 2 or 3 coats, otherwise it will drip.
If you just painted those, I decided to go with the white because the wall is white, you see.
Anyways, thanks to my brother voiceovering that little bit. I'm making markings now on the nightstand so that I know where to drill, and for this process I use self-driving screws. Guys, what a time saver. I am honestly going to invest in self-driving screws because I didn't need to pre-drill anything. I just screwed it all in with obviously the anchor of the marking. So now installing these to the wall, what I did was I put the shelf against the wall and then I made the markings for where the holes should be, drilled the wall and put an anchor into the wall, and then obviously started attaching this nightstand and putting my screws right through. And if you guys want a full detail on how I did this, I will do a separate or create a separate video where I go into thorough detail on how I attach things to the wall. But however, this is how it turned out at the end. our video for today. That is the very end of this episode. I do hope you guys enjoyed and loved these side tables the way I did, or the way I still do. But obviously some of these pieces you will not see them being decorated because I am saving that for the very last episode. So you guys need to stay tuned so you guys can finally see how I'm going to decorate these nightstands. Okay guys, this is editing Reneilwe over here. I just forgot to mention one thing, the cost of creating this nightstand. So obviously the cost of creating this nightstand, the hooks or the anchors that I placed the nightstand on cost R3.50 each. Very inexpensive, right? So I needed 4 of those, and then the wood itself cost me 110 rands, and obviously the stain is being used from my headboard DIY. So obviously the overall cost of this was 124 rands for these nightstands. Please tell me you can find them cheaper elsewhere, because trust me, I've checked nightstands that look like the ones I DIY'd. They go about in the higher 200s into the 300s and 400s going upwards. So this was very inexpensive. So I'm gonna go back to the present Reneilwe that you were listening to. Bye! If you guys love this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have better suggestions on how I could have bettered this DIY, or you just simply want to leave me a comment down below. And well, don't forget to subscribe. Turn on the bell notification because you need to. You basically don't need to, but you want to. It's a bit pretentious of me to think that you guys are excited as I am in this situation, but anyways, why don't we just assume it all? You want to actually stay tuned for the rest of this room makeover, so turn on the bell notifications so you get notified each and every single time that I post new content on my channel. T's and C's apply. Okay, I'm done fooling around. With that being said, be kind, love and light.